Hello again, everybody. Whiskey here, and in this video I call it T.Rex Domination. I'm bringing you some more T.Rex gameplay, and this is after the most recent update that Arizoa has done to the PT-Rex. With this last update, I think they've got the Rex and the Gigas pretty much perfect, pretty much balanced almost perfectly. They decreased the stamina cost on Deep Rumble, which is huge, and then the stamina cost on Charged Bite also. And the reason why that is such a big deal is because in order to win a Rex fight against Gigas, if you don't get a really early bone break like I just did on this clip right here, you're going to need to use Deep Rumble in the fight. And usually that comes after you've had to expend some of your stamina, because you have to sprint a lot sometimes to catch the Gigas and land the bone break. And in the way it was before, if you pop Deep Rumble after you did that, you wouldn't have enough stamina to get that second bone break in on the Giga. And if you can't get that second bone break in, then the Giga is going to be able to run away. Like this bone break right here, if I didn't hit that, he'd have been able to run away. And he knows that, which is why he forecalled. And that was a good fight. GG's. And I won it without having to use Deep Rumble. But again, that was because I got that bone break in fairly early. And then on the Charge Bite, same kind of thing. You can use Charge Bite against Gigas also. So you exchange, if they Charge Bite, you also Charge Bite. And it can prevent them from landing the Charge Bite on you. But I don't think it's as good as Bone Break, but sometimes if you like to use Charge Bite in Rex v Rex fights, you might get caught by a couple of Gigas while you have Charge Bite on. So you won't be at such a bad disadvantage if that happens in this case, because you won't be using so much stamina anymore like you used to. But the reason I lost most of my Giga fights before was that I would run out of stamina. You can see here how low my stamina is, and before I was able to get this bone break in right here, I mean, I've only got like less than half my stamina left. So I have enough here to get another bone break on him, and it'll be enough to win the fight. And these are two experienced Giga players, and they know that, so they're going to forecall, which is the smart thing to do in this case. They before this update, they increased the turn radius on the Gigas, and they decreased the turn radius on the Rex. And I think they did some other stuff that really made the Gigas a lot better. And the Gigas did have an advantage on the plains, but they also, the way it was before, could actually go into the forest and kill Rexes pretty easily also, because they had everything they needed really. But now, with this little extra stamina that we have on the Rex, I think it gives us the edge that we need to win. We have a small chance. The Gigas still have a really good chance out on the plains, but Rexes do have a chance a more fair chance now to actually win in the open area, and they're much better off in the forest now to win as well, with this little bit of extra stamina. But the basic Rex gameplay has not changed. You live and die by the bone break. If you can't get an early bone break, then you will lose. And if you see on this one here, I was really gambling on this one because they had enough damage, I thought, at the very beginning of this to win. But I was lucky. I don't know if the Giga might have been a little bit low health when we started, or I just got lucky, because look how much health I have there at the end. If you don't pop Deep Rumble, this is what it's going to come down to. I mean, it's a hair of health, so you really want to try to get the Deep Rumble popped if you can. You should, have Deep Rumble and also Bone Break both Gigas, and then Bone Break whichever Giga you want to focus, Bone Break it a second time. And that really should get you the win in a Rex v Giga fight. This is an example of a fight where I run into these players. There's a handful of players in the game that are they're skilled players really, but they're really, really sore losers, and it really runs the experience for everybody. It's annoying to me, and it creates a irritating and uncomfortable and just a really inconvenient and sad situation for everybody, for a whole bunch of people, the way these people behave. because they even made a ticket, and that's what they do. They accuse you of a rule break that you didn't do. They accuse me of using the anthills. They made a ticket, so now they're dragging moderators involved, to be involved, who already, have a lot on their plate, have to moderate the game against like fair rule breaks, but then they've got these people that just make the frivolous tickets because they're trying to say that I used the anthills when they're the Gigas that walked over here to the anthills. I followed them over here. Then the guy trips up on an anthill, gets bone broken, and loses because he made a mistake. And he probably felt stupid, and he doesn't want to admit his mistake, and he doesn't want to, admit fault and then just go learn from his mistake and get better. He wants to blame his opponent. And instead of saying GG's, they say you are beat. And they abuse the ticket system. They're confusing people in local chat. They're confusing other opponents that don't know any better. They're making people think that they're rule breaking when they're not. And it's this huge ripple effect of negativity that's just ridiculous. It can never be their fault. It can never be the fact that they just lost fair and square. It's always got to be that the other player cheated somehow. And we all run into these kind of people in life. If you play any kind of sports or any kind of other board games or card games or anything, the sore losers are always the ones that cry you cheated at the end, even though when nobody cheated. You just be a good sport, have sportsmanlike conduct, and say GG's. That's really the best way to play, and what really separates the good players from the bad players. The good players, we all lose. I mean, even great players lose. I lose. There's people that are better than me, and we all lose. And I don't claim to be the best T.Rex player. A lot of people say that I am, and I appreciate that. I'm flattered by that, but I really don't believe I am. I lose, and I come across better Rex players than me. And I love fighting them because when I lose, I can learn from my mistake, and it helps make me better. So when I lose, I say GG, and I look at my mistake and I get better, and I encourage you to do the same thing. This clip here I threw this in here because it really is a great example of how stealth the Rex can be. I was just crouched in those bushes, and those owls had no idea I was there. And just like always, the Rex lives and dies by bone break. These aloes do a good job of body blocking, trying to get in the way, but once you get a bone break, if you can get a few bone breaks in, you can bone break all 4 aloes at some point, and they're not going to be able to escape if you're just persistent. So that was a good little ambush, I thought, and wanted to highlight it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was charge bite on the Rex. I was practicing. I do use charge bite from time to time, but it's not my primary. It can win a Rex fight. In this case of this Rex fight right here, it almost cost me the loss, but because I had it, I was able to pull off the win. But my mistake was right here. This Rex gets 3 bites on me before I drop the charge bite on him, and that was a big problem. I should have timed it better and landed the charge bite first before he got any bites. That would have given me the advantage in the fight. And that's how you use charge bite. You basically get the first one. A lot of players will use the red herring and land a charge bite. And if they do that to me in the fight and I can't dodge it, I'm just going to forecall because I know that's going to be the game. It should have been the game here for this guy because I was charging up when he was biting me. But I did a Hail Mary charge bite right here. I was fully expecting to die, but I landed it right there and I got the win. So he didn't bite me, and I was able to get the bite on him. In this clip here is the opposite. I'm not using charge bite, but the other player is. And I knew that he had it, so he does red herring and charge bite, and I'm just avoiding it. The first thing I'm going to do here is pop Deep Rumble, because if he does land it, I need the extra defense. He landed it on my tail before I had Deep Rumble popped, but the Deep Rumble on my end and him not having it on his is going to win me the fight, and I know that in this case, that I've got the advantage here. So I go ahead and fight it out, and you'll see that they forecall. So this is why I don't use charge bite, because I can usually avoid it or get around it. But like I said, the players that have beat me are usually players with charge bite that land it right away. So it is a good tool to use, and if you can get really good at it, then it's definitely something that you can use. The other thing I wanted to talk about was positioning in a Rex fight. Lately, this came up a while ago, months ago, where I would do this tactic right here where the Rex opponent pops deep rumble right away. It's a really bad move to do. It's kind of a rookie mistake because all I have to do now is wait it. I know that it's 40 seconds, so I can wait about 20 to 30 seconds of circling and three calling like this and keeping my distance. And this is just waiting out a deep rumble. And it's a tactic that any player can use. Every player has the equal opportunity to use it. There's no unfair advantage with it. It's just a simple matter of if you're outsmarting your opponent or not. And it's not running away and it's not forfeiting. But this player and a few other players recently have started making this claim, and it's a claim that I used to hear, like I said, months ago, where I would reposition and bait the deep rumble out and then wait for it to time out, and people would say that I was somehow a dirty player, or I was, forfeiting, or I was running away, or I was dragging out a fight. And back then, those months ago, a head admin, popped in and said, hey, he's allowed to reposition and he's allowed to wait out deep rumble. That's not forfeiting. And it quieted down. I didn't hear that argument for a long time, for many months, but I've started hearing it again. There's some new moderators that have come into Arizona, and I think maybe some of them have that old interpretation or something, because I've had now 5 players actually. When I started making this video, it was only 3, but 2 more players have come. When I fought them, they've told me that a moderator has told them that if you run away when the Rex pops deep rumble, that you're forfeiting. Now, if you run away and you're running away for 40 seconds, a minute, minute and a half or more, then yeah, you're dragging out the fight. But if you just make some space for 20 seconds or 30 seconds and wait that deep rumble out and then pop your own and go in and fight, as long as you're circling and you're three calling and you're doing like I'm doing in this video right here and these 2 that I've shown you, that's just repositioning, and that's okay. I'm not showing any kind of sign that I want to forfeit at all. I'm running away to dodge his charge bite. The first time that when he popped red herring, I ran at him and I bit him because I didn't want him to have time to charge up the charge bite. And then the second time he charge bit, I just ran away from it. Now I'm not forfeiting the fight, and I'm not, dragging out the fight. I'm just dodging a charge bite. And again, that's totally valid tactic. This is where he pops deep rumble. So I'm making space. I'm not running away. I'm keeping him in my line of sight. I'm going to circle. I'm going to three call. I'm going to do everything I can to make it very clear that I am not forfeiting. Now here you can see this player. This opponent's a great Rex player, by the way, and they were telling me that I was forfeiting, and that's because they were told by a mod that they used this tactic in another fight, and they were told that it was forfeiting. So he had stopped using that tactic. Even though it's a great tactic, he'd stopped using it because he had been told by a moderator that he couldn't do it. And you can see right here, Fumple comes in and says waiting out the rumble is not a forfeit. And so, I'm so glad that he became a moderator. He's trying out for it because he's a really good player, and I've seen him around quite many months now, and I know he knows the rules, and I know that he's a really good player. So I'm glad he was there to moderate. He did an excellent job moderating this fight for me and for my opponent, and clarified that is definitely not against the rules to bait out a deep rumble. So I hope that makes it clear for everybody that that's okay to do. Anybody that sees this video, I want you to know that you can indeed reposition in a fight. Now this Rex fight here, this player is one of the same Gigas in one of my earlier clips that was the one that accused me of rule breaking because I quote-unquote used the anthills, even though he was the one that ran to the anthills in the first place, and I just followed him there. That's the kind of player that they are. And look, this is the type of behavior that this player and these kinds of players, there was 2 of them in particular. One of them's been banned from what I hear, which is great because they were super toxic and just constantly an annoyance in the server. You always see them in local chat telling everybody else that they RB'd, just saying nonsense all the time, flooding local chat with just meaningless nonsense constantly, and they were always toxic, and I knew it was just a matter of time before they got banned. And they finally did. I'm very thankful for that. It's unfortunate that has to happen, but sometimes it's the right outcome. And this was like this guy's best buddy, and look at what he's doing. I mean, he's the one that accused me of rule breaking when he lost, when he took me to the anthills and then tripped over one and tried to blame it on me. This is what he does. I had to fast forward this because it was like 15 minutes of him running away from me in Savannah. Look, he's running into other players. The guy, this is not how you fight on a Rex, okay? This is a good example of a bad example on how to fight a Rex fight. I finally just got frustrated, and I'm like, you know what, dude? If you're gonna run around Savannah, I'm just gonna go back to my body up here and sit down. Like that's how bad this Rex player was. I could actually sit down in the middle of a Rex fight. And anytime I like sat down or turned around, he would come back and approach me. And then as soon as I go to engage, he just runs away. This is not how you fight a Rex fight. This is definitely dragging out a Rex fight. This is definitely should be forced. This guy should be forced to forfeit. He actually in this clip right here, he actually bites that Hats that he ran into, got into the Hats' personal space. The Hats bit at him, and he turns around and bites back. I mean, that's a rule break right there. This guy runs around doing rule breaks day after day, accusing everybody else of rule breaking and making tickets on everybody that he loses to. And this is how he fights on a Rex. And afterward, he claims, well, this is how you teach people to fight. And no, it's not. I teach people to reposition for 30 seconds, not run away and run around the POI for 10 minutes. So that's the difference between repositioning and running away. Hopefully it's clear to everybody. Please comment if you have questions and give me a like. And I hope to see you out there in Gondola. Goodbye.